Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Emerald update video. We got a bunch of cool stuff to talk about in this video, so I'm not going to take up too much time and we're going to just hop right on into it. So one of the things I've always kind of talked about in the Battle Frontier is actually how much I dislike Salamence as a Pokemon in the Battle Frontier. One of the biggest reasons I dislike Salamence in the Battle Frontier and Pokemon Emerald specifically is the amount of water type Pokemon that carry ice type moves makes it really difficult to use. However, Salamence has been kind of one of those proven Pokemon to really work, so I decided to go ahead and breed not one but two Salamence. Both of these Salamence are very different. They have different moves, different natures, and all that, so I'm going to get into the first Salamence that I raised. So the first Salamence I raised was a hasty nature. It had 31 IVs in attack and speed, and I EV trained it in attack, special attack, and speed. The reason I went with hasty nature is because this is one of the better natures to use on Salamence for the Battle Palace as well, and having a positive speed nature is really helpful. So for attack I had 200 EVs, for special attack I had 56, and then for speed I put 252. So this is the max speed that Salamence can have, and I was really happy with it. So once I finished up the EV training, I went ahead and I actually fully trained it to level 100 instead of using any of the rare candy glitches. The way I trained it was I brought it over to Fire Red, trained it in the Saval Canyon, and it was actually pretty easy. It only took me maybe 2 or 3 days to train Salamence to level 100, and after that I traded it back over to Emerald, and then I got started on the second Bagon. Now, the second Bagon I decided to kind of just do in my own free time because really it's just a side Pokemon to use, because I had seen while I was training the first Salamence that Salamence can have Hydro Pump as an egg move, and I was like, man, that's really cool actually. And in the breeding process of breeding for the hasty nature, I actually had a Bagon come out. It was female with a mild nature and had 3 perfect IVs. 3 perfect IVs. It was crazy. So I started with that, and I started breeding for Bagons with Hydro Pump. So I started with that as the female Bagon, and then I went ahead and found a Horsey and leveled it up into a new Hydro Pump and bred the two until I had a male with Hydro Pump. So after that, I went through the entire breeding process, swapping them out and doing everything like that, and I ended up getting one that had 31 IVs in speed and special attack, and it was a mild nature. So I thought it was awesome. However, I had made a very crucial mistake that I had pointed out in my breeding guide, and I had removed the male Pokemon from the daycare and put it back in, and at that point it didn't have Hydro Pump anymore. So I had wasted a lot of time and it felt pretty bad, so went back to the drawing board, and eventually I did end up breeding one that was pretty good. It had 31 IVs in special attack, and after training it and everything, it had 30 IVs in speed, so a little bit worse, but nothing too crazy. So for the Bagon with Hydro Pump, I decided to have the EVs be 4 in attack, 252 in special attack, and 252 in speed. So this is the max special attack it can have. And I'm thinking for the Hydro Pump Bagon, I'm thinking about having it have just like all special moves with maybe having Earthquake. Hydro Pump and Dragon Claw are obviously going to be on there, and I'm trying to think of a good third move. I'm debating between Flamethrower and Crunch. Now obviously I could put both of those on there, but then I would have preferred to put my attack EVs into maybe HP or something, but really I don't think it matters too much. I'm leaning more towards Flamethrower to take out things like Scizor or Fortress or any sort of problem Pokemon like that, because without having some sort of fire type move, it's really difficult to defeat. Now, because I've been going through this IV breeding process, I have also been kind of reworking a lot of the Pokemon I've been using. So right now the Blaziken I have, it really has terrible IVs, and unfortunately that does have a really big impact on the performance of the team. So more than likely this Salamence is going to replace the Blaziken I have, which is somewhat unfortunate because I really do like Blaziken, but I can also breed for more, so it's not that big of a deal. As for the rest of my save file, I've been actually cleaning it up quite a bit, and I really have decided to remove any RNG type Pokemon I have. Of course, I know Registeel is on the team right now and it was RNG'd, and I'm probably going to go ahead and just remove it. I don't think there's anything wrong with RNG at all. I think it's actually probably the better way of getting all the gold symbols. However, for me personally, it kind of takes away some of the fun, some of the grindiness, I guess, of it. I really do enjoy like building the Pokemon from scratch through the breeding process and everything, and I think that if I just RNG everything, then it takes away a little bit of the fun for me. I had a lot of different Pokemon that I had planned on using and making videos on that were RNG'd, but I decided to scrap them because I didn't think they fit what I really wanted to do with this channel. Some of the Pokemon I had were like 5 Perfect IV Shiny Suicune from the Blissey event, and I also had a 5 Perfect IV Shiny Ninetales with the egg moves Hypnosis and Spite, and those are both really cool Pokemon that I had always really wanted to have, but in reality it felt like it kind of tainted what I wanted this channel to be, which is just the natural process of breeding and training the Pokemon properly. Some other stuff I've been doing in the game is I've actually been working on my pokedex, and I actually had to fix my save file because for some reason it was saying that I had never caught Groudon. My only guess is this could have happened because I had done the palm egg glitch in my save file and it corrupted a lot of different data. I also had to change the time in the clock for my save file, so I'm able to go ahead and get to the ice floor so I could capture Snorunt to complete my pokedex. If you have no way to edit your save file like this, really all you have to do is just change the battery for the low tide and high tide to change every 6 hours. And I probably could have just traded over another Groudon just for it to register in the Pokedex, but I figured this was a safer and easier way of fixing the save file. So I am currently about 1/3 of the way done with the Hoenn Pokedex, and once I complete that, I will probably go ahead and get one of the starters, and I do have some ideas for which starter I want to choose, and probably train it for the Battle Frontier. Right now, some ideas I have for more Pokemon I want to train for the Battle Frontier are things like Lanturn and Ursaring. Ursaring is just one of those really cool Pokemon that I really like. I really grew attached to it because of playing through Pokemon XD. It's a game I've had since I was a kid, and I always loved using it on my team. As for Lanturn, I think it's just a really cool Pokemon. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's another water type bulky Pokemon with a bunch of HP, and it really does fit well with Salamence and a lot of Salaменce's weaknesses. So I think it would be a really cool Pokemon to slot in with Salamence. I'm going to continue to work on the team. I'm going to try to find more Pokemon that are kind of unique, that aren't used a lot, and try to make them shine a little bit with my videos. I know Nostalgic Nighthawk, who has heavily inspired this channel. He had bred a Wailord, and that was really cool to see, and it's really cool to see it working out really well for him. So it has inspired me to kind of look at more Pokemon that kind of don't have a lot of spotlight in the Battle Frontier sense. I've also been keeping everything categorized in a notebook as well, as inspired by him. I have all the sticky notes for the Bagon that I trained, and I'm going to continue to do this with more of the Pokemon I train. This notebook was originally used for competitive Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. I had gotten the notebook back in November, and I had used it to kind of document how the meta was changing and potential teams that I wanted to try out and see if they worked. So it's fun to look back on my thought process for all the teams I was working on, and it's fun to document all the thought processes that I have going forward with the Battle Frontier. Hopefully with the next Pokemon that I'm going to be breeding, it will not take so long. It did take me a few weeks to get these Salamences trained up properly and everything. I'm still going to mess around with some of their moves. That is all I have for this video. It's just a short little update about what I've been working on and things I plan to work on. So with that, thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys so much for all the support I get on these videos. It really does mean a lot, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.